Hello! As you might be able to tell, I'm not recording from the studio right now, I'm recording from my basement. We've been mandated to work from home thanks to the closure of non-essential businesses, and for the foreseeable future, 14 days until whenever it's all clear to go back, I'll be putting out content from the lovely, the lovely warmth of this room. Hopefully it's not too big of a deal. I'll try to keep the quality as peak as it was before, but it's a bit of a different setup. Also, just in case people were worried, I apologize for not addressing this sooner, but I've got a lovely boot on my foot these days. So I injured myself skateboarding, it happens. But yeah, for about a week I was off work, and then I came back in on one day to mass record a bunch of videos that I wrote at home, and just forgot to address why I had crutches in these videos. So that's that. But now work from home is happening for sure, and here we are. All right, on with the video. Sometimes reality is scarier than fiction. This becomes more true every time a previously undiscovered creature makes his debut. Nature is brutal and bloodthirsty, and not much survives without needing to kill something else or avoid predators left and right. In order to do either of these things, creatures need to adapt to their surroundings and develop features that make them more fearsome or fleeting. Of course, the most disturbing creatures have taken up residence in the terrifying tales humans tell for as long as we can remember. Exaggerated and mythologized, sure, but they're definitely the source of inspiration. So at this point in our long and storied history, we started to use repellent reptiles and roaring flesh rippers in the myth-making of the day, filmmaking. And what better home for beasts and critters than in horror movies? Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're counting down the top 5 scariest living creatures that need to be in horror movies. We're going to avoid some obvious picks like lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, in favor of some more strange and fascinating freaks. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more flesh-rending rapscallions. Outstanding, let's begin. Coming in at number 5, the lamprey. We don't call them lamprey eels, alright? Sure, they look similar, but these blood-sucking tubes of flesh and teeth are not the same as the wiggly, goofy-faced fish. Lampreys are absolutely blood-thinningly awful. Look at their mouth. Oof. You know how in a whole bunch of movies, somebody will say, an ancient evil has awoken? Well, lampreys are that ancient evil. They've been around forever and really haven't changed that much over time. The perfect blood-draining machines, they're basically just tubes with resource-sucking capabilities. They latch onto whatever blood-filled organism they can get their horrid little teeth on and go for a ride. Usually their prey is cold-blooded, but they have been known to go after humans if nothing else is available. However, they have a detrimental effect on humans without even draining them dry. The lamprey is an invasive species and a major pest in the North American Great Lakes. That's right, the lakes you've likely swam in growing up are full of these slippery bastards. And with no natural predators, they're quite prolific. Snagging on a species of commercial value like trout, the ugly suckers cause more trouble than they're worth. Now, how would these fit into a horror movie? Well, first I looked at the legendary Kurt Vonnegut and his short story, The Big Space Kerfuffle. It's not actually called a kerfuffle, but I'll refrain from saying the real title. In amongst the cod pieces and rocket ships and pollution, there were also giant people-eating ambulatory lampreys. Imagine a monster movie with a bunch of those running around, hopping onto people and draining them dry. Oh, it'd be wicked. We could also do one like Piranha, where a whole bunch of extra aggressive lampreys with voracious appetites and exceedingly deadly teeth are introduced to a body of water where plenty of young adults swim recreationally. That would be a lot of fun too. Before we move on to our next contestant, let's just take one last look at those teeth. Oh my. Coming in at number 4, we have the Satanic Leaftailed Gecko. It's all in the name. I would 100% watch a movie about this gecko and the satanic cult that follows it. Imagine the possibilities. Now, before we go too far down the fiction route, let's talk actual biological facts. Somehow, this gecko has developed features that are almost indistinguishable from the leaves they hide among. Masterfully camouflaged, Uroplatus fantasticus has a leafy tail, often with chunks missing to look like they've rotted away. They come in many shades of beige, brown, and gray, and sport lichen-like greenish spots that pass for moss. There's even a line along their back that looks like a leaf vein. Natural selection at its finest. Our Madagascar-based foliage blenders tend to eat a whole lot of insects. Crickets, flies, spiders, roaches, snails, the works. However, substitute this for human flesh hunger, and you've got a near-invisible satanic lizard ruling over the flora. They're quick, too, so if you spot one, it can make a speedy getaway before being caught. So imagine this. A team of explorers or biologists or prospectors journey to the palmy, balmy island in search of whatever a team like that needs to search for. They set up camp in an unexplored area and soon run into people mumbling incoherently about the great Gecko and what he can offer. Soon, people start waking up with pieces of flesh missing and the remnants of dried leaves scattered around camp. One of the group is converted to the Satanic Gecko belief and things will go downhill from there. It doesn't take folks long to realize that there's something insidious going on among the branches and the camouflage puppet master is revealed. And then, after all is said and done and the Satanic Leaftailed Gecko is done away with, it's revealed that there are dozens more and they're just about ready to summon the lizard-tailed Lucifer himself. Hell yeah. Swimming in at number 3, we've got the wolffish. Often referred to as charmingly ugly, these strong-jawed bottom dwellers could cause a ruckus and a half in a horror movie, especially if we upscaled them to be bigger than humans. It would be a deep sea situation akin to the recent blockbuster Underwater. Wolffish are demersal, meaning that they usually live at the bottom of the sea among the muck and mire. A common place to find the toothy brutes is inside little rock dens, defending their eggs. If you're ever scared of the eel in Super Mario 64, you'll understand the terrifying potential of something like this. I can see it now, a deep sea diver coming across a tantalizing little rock den near the ocean floor. Maybe the pay dirt he's been looking for is somewhere within. He drifts over to the mouth of the cave and peers inside. All dark, seems clear. Flashlight clicks on and a pair of dead, glossy eyes stares back. Now the diver is missing the top half of his body, waste spewing bright red blood into the surrounding water. We can make a case for it simply being hungry and defensive, or that it's guarding the thousands of eggs left behind by a female wolffish. And the flick like Godzilla with Matthew Broderick and have the eggs hatch just as folks think it's over, using the biology and reproductive system of the wolffish for additional terror. Perfect. Coming in at number 2, we've got the Cthulhu Larva. Again, just look at the name. Baby great old ones. The potential is as limitless as Lovecraft's dark imagination. Now get this, there are even more names for this thing that will plumb the depths of your mind. It's also known as the deep sea holothurian, also known as an abyssal sea cucumber. Any of these would make for a fantastic concept album, strain name, or horror movie monster, easily putting the fear of God and beyond into the hearts of every man, woman, and child. Now, in real life, these little dudes aren't much to be afraid of. They are deposit feeders, extracting organic particles from deep sea mud and using olfaction to find more food sources. They're tiny and don't pose much of a threat to anything. However, they do roll up in gigantic groups, often numbering in the hundreds when observed. In addition to this, they also host many parasitic and commensal organisms carrying them along with them. If we're going Lovecraftian, which of course we are, we can imagine these little sea pigs are actually the size of cows and that they can live outside of the water, hovering and sloshing around like any good cosmic beast might. Maddening to look at and able to scrape sustenance from anything and get his little jelly-like grabbers on. I really think there's a lot of potential in their ability to host parasites too, possibly carrying little man-eating crabs along until they find suitable prey. A whole army of these things overtaking coastal towns and infesting them with Cthulhu adjacents. It would be seriously cool and creepy. And finally at number 1, we've got the Shoebill. The Birds and Hitchcock's The Birds have nothing on this stoic stork that's basically a modern dinosaur. There are so many awesome and horrific facts about this one, it would be hard not to write a horror movie with this in the starring role. First of all, Shoebills look freaky as hell. Gigantic beaks, big unblinking eyes, a wingspan of 7 feet. The fact that they're as tall as some human beings, the works. They've got this habit of standing statues still for hours at a time, waiting for prey unfortunate enough to walk into the danger zone. Oh, when it's prey? Lungfish, catfish, eels, lizards, snakes, and baby crocodiles. Yes, this bird eats crocodiles. Run for your life. And that's just the start of the prey terror. Once it catches something, it will violently shake its head back and forth until the only thing in its beak is the choice creature, and then it'll bite down, decapitating the poor thing. In fact, it waits with its beak open just wide enough that the prey thinks it can escape, and once the head pokes out, chomp. Gruesome and cruel. And delicious too. Like all good horror movie creatures, it has a signature noise. Usually the shoebill will be dead silent, but it has been observed engaging in bill clattering among the nest or other birds. People have described this noise as sounding like a machine gun. Wow. Imagine hearing that from the deadly bird statue over yonder. The last thing you hear before you die, likely. And finally, these dudes are cold-blooded killers for sure. The young will kill each other as soon as they get a chance. If more than one baby bird is hatched, the bigger, stronger one will get more attention and peck at the lesser sibling until it dies and dries in the sun. Hardcore. If they don't think twice about killing their own kin, what makes you think the shoebill will spare you? Stealthy, gigantic, and deadly? I'd watch that movie in a heartbeat. I love this kind of speculative thinking. The world is full of fantastic ideas just ripe for the picking. What did you think of the list? Which movie would you be most likely to watch? What creatures would you pick to star in a horror movie? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more panicked ones from the top 5 scary illegal apps you should never download part 2. Ashley Brown says, I'm going to hope you were skateboarding and got broke off and not that Lucy crippled you. Spot on. Heel flipped off a ledge and did not catch correctly. I love a good fracture. Martin Atsu Jensen says, Lieutenant Keegan, you got new legs? Nope, still rocking the old ones. However, if somebody has a spare pair to share, I would gladly take them. Jasmine Suggs says, 2 minutes in, already having a panic attack because my daughter was obsessed with talking Angela. Yeah, no, that app was completely creepy when I think back. Even with all the stories being hoaxes, the 3D models were so off-putting. Somehow the designers managed to enter the uncanny valley using an animal creature. Pillmatic42 says her story was awesome. Agreed. It's an experience like no other, that's for sure. And Not Alex says, these apps are already downloaded, try me. An officer has been alerted and is heading to your location now. Good luck. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I head out to a remote village to meet a woman about hunting some wolves, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more magical, mysterious monsters. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.